Have you ever heard of a man who could walk into any African country and they would call him their leader? A man so influential that newspapers nicknamed him the Black Aristotle, while politicians across the continent called him the Zik of Africa. He spoke 9 languages. He lived on 4 continents. He inspired revolutions in Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, and Gambia, and even influenced the great Martin Luther King Jr. This isn't just the story of a politician. This is the story of Nnamdi Benjamin Azikiwe, the man who used newspapers as weapons, ideas as bullets, and unity as his sacred mission. In this video, you'll discover how Zik became a threat to the entire British Empire, how his words ignited independence movements across a continent, and how he rose to become Nigeria's very first president. And make sure you stay till the end, because the most shocking betrayal in this story happened after independence. Nnamdi Azikiwe was born on November 16, 1904 in Zunguru, northern Nigeria's strange place for an Igbo child to grow up. His father was a clerk in the colonial government, and his mother was a trader and a gifted storyteller. Little Zik grew up listening to tales of freedom, courage, and destiny. These weren't just bedtime stories, they were seeds of a revolution being planted in a young mind. At just 8 years old, he did something extraordinary. He ran away from home. Why? Because he was absolutely determined to get to the United States for an education. The British colonial system had taught Africans that education was a privilege reserved for a select few. But Zik believed with every fiber of his being that education was a fundamental human right. Between the ages of 8 and 17, he was a restless soul, attending 5 different schools across Nigeria. He was searching for something more, for an opportunity that the colonial system was designed to deny him. And soon, destiny answered his call. At age 20, with a mere $50 in his pocket, he boarded a ship bound for America. This wasn't a luxury cruise. He worked on that ship as a cleaner and dishwasher just to earn his passage across the vast Atlantic. When he finally arrived in the United States, he was so hungry he nearly collapsed on the streets. But he never complained. He took on any job he could find: cleaner, boxer, waiter, and even a coal loader, all to pay his school fees. He understood that sacrifice was the price of freedom. The turning point in his American journey came when he encountered the powerful ideas of Marcus Garvey, the Pan-African revolutionary who preached a simple, electrifying message: Africa must rise and unite. For Zik, this wasn't just a philosophy, it was a fire that consumed him. He dedicated himself to his studies, earning his first degree from Storr College, then another from Lincoln University, and finally a master's degree from the prestigious University of Pennsylvania. By the time he was ready to return to Africa, he had armed himself with degrees in political science, anthropology, and philosophy. He had mastered the craft of journalism and built a network of black intellectuals across America. He didn't just return educated, he returned dangerous. When Zik first landed back in Africa, it wasn't in Nigeria. It was in Ghana, then known as the Gold Coast. There, he launched a newspaper called the African Morning Post. Its slogan was nothing short of explosive: liberty or death. Freedom for Africa. Zik wasn't just reporting the news, he was writing revolution. He used his articles to encourage Ghanaians to challenge colonial rule, and his words directly inspired a young Kwame Nkrumah, who would later become Ghana's first president. His writings became too powerful for the British to ignore. They arrested him, charged him with sedition, and tried to lock him away. But he escaped, making his way back to his homeland, Nigeria. The British had severely underestimated their opponent. Back in Nigeria, he founded the West African Pilot, a newspaper that quickly spread to every major city. Its motto was a beacon of hope: show the light, and the people will find the way. Every single issue was a calculated attack on colonialism. Every headline screamed for freedom. Every article was designed to change minds, and it worked. Across West Africa, the British Empire began to fear the name of one man Zik. But newspapers were just the beginning. Zik formed a political party, the National Council of Nigeria and the Camerons, or NCNC. Its mission wasn't just about independence for one country, it was about a united, strong, and free Africa. He traveled across Nigeria like a thunderstorm, delivering speeches so powerful, so electrifying, that people were said to have fainted from sheer excitement. He used his newspapers as his weapons, and the British used prison cells as their defense. But nothing they did could stop him. In 1954, his relentless struggle paid off. He became the first premier of eastern Nigeria. Then, in 1960, the moment all of Africa had been waiting for arrived. Nigeria finally gained its independence, and standing at the very top, as the nation's father figure, was Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the father of Nigerian nationalism. But winning independence brought a whole new set of problems. Nigeria was a nation forced together by colonial mapmakers, but it was deeply divided by tribal suspicion. The Hausa, the Yoruba, and the Igbo each had different histories, different interests, and different priorities. Three political giants emerged from this new landscape: Ahmadu Bello in the north, Obafemi Awolowo in the west, and of course, Nnamdi Azikiwe in the east. A power struggle seemed inevitable. But instead of fighting for ultimate power, Zik did something unexpected. He proposed a partnership. He formed a government alliance with Tafawa Balewa from the north. He accepted a more symbolic role as Governor-General and later President, because he believed that national unity was far more important than his personal ambition. Zik dreamed of a Nigeria where Hausa lands would prosper, Yoruba wisdom would flourish, and Igbo innovation would thrive, all working together. He once famously said, "Tribalism is worse than cancer." His entire mission was to build a unified nation. But politics is never a clean game. Early disputes, corruption, and simmering ethnic tensions began to pull the new nation apart. The military coups of 1966 and the tragic road to the Nigerian Civil War, the Biafra War, crushed Zik emotionally. The dream of unity to which he had dedicated his entire life was shattering before his very eyes. When the war broke out, Zik initially supported his people in Biafra. But later, he made a controversial choice. He switched sides and returned to the Nigerian government to negotiate for peace. Why? Because he came to a painful realization: a united Nigeria, however imperfect, was better than a divided Nigeria tearing itself apart in war. Even in what felt like a betrayal to many, he still chose the path of peace. Today, his legacy is written all over the map of Nigeria. Azikiwe University, the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in the nation's capital, the historic Zek's Flats where independence was drafted, and countless monuments all bear his name. His newspapers ignited a freedom movement that swept across a continent. His speeches inspired entire nations to rise up. His dream built a country. He was never just a Nigerian leader, he was Africa's voice. And that is why history will forever remember him as Zik of Africa. If the story of this great man inspired you, type "Africa must rise" in the comments below. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share this story so that more people can learn about Africa's incredible heroes. Thank you for watching.